Welcome to More Than Mindset, the only podcast that bridges the gap between spirituality and success. Go beyond the mind with clarity and confidence coach Kim Guillory and learn how to integrate your passion to serve with your skills and experience to create a business you love. Let's get started.
Hey there, and welcome back to the show. I hope you enjoyed the last two episodes with Danielle and I talking about human design and the systems and the science of differentiality and gene keys and all of this cool stuff that we have been munching on. It's been so fun. I can't tell you how much difference it has made in my life since I started experimenting with this. I would say it's been about 10 years when I started playing around with astrology and my birth chart and really getting to know more about myself. I had already done a lot of the personality testing and Enneagram and lots of study on stuff like that. And it all made sense. And I was getting to know myself better. And then when I came across human design and realized, as a generator, we're just here to know ourselves. It's oh, well, that makes sense. A little self-obsessed or self-involved. But when you really think about it, that is what we're all here to do, right? To learn more about ourselves, to awaken to this experience and fully embrace it and embody it. So anyway, I hope that was pleasurable for you. If you want to know more about that, come over to the More Than Mindset group, or better yet, join Self-Healing Masters. That's really where we are taking the chart and the work and the practice even deeper. So anyway, let me tell you about my Colorado road trip that I just got back from a couple of days ago. So I think we went for 10 days. I went to a client place out there in Colorado in Glenwood Springs, which is a beautiful place. Had so much fun. I needed to unwind. I needed time for myself. I needed some nature, some trees, some mountains. Yeah, I just kind of took the responsibility. We were very careful. We followed all of the rules. We didn't see many people. It was basically a lot of time in my car driving there and then just being in that experience of being, period. Just being what is. It wasn't about being entertained or really experiencing anything new and fabulous as much as it was to just have a different environment to look at other than my house. I have been here for 7 months. I think I've left twice to see the kids in Mississippi and twice to go to the grocery store or something like that. So I've been really following the rules here. So I wanted to take a little bit of time and go see something different. Thank you, Monique, for the hospitality. So today we are going to talk about the path of being, which is exactly what the conversation with Danielle and I have been leading up to. It's what we talk about in More Than Mindset, in Self-Healing Masters. It's all about being yourself, right? Being, not doing. And what that looks like. And how you can get started today. So that's what this show is going to be about. It's a practice, a daily, even momentary practice to be. It's a bit counterintuitive from what we've been taught. How we've been conditioned to be doers rather than beers. When the majority of us are meant to just be in our essence, be all of us, and contribute parts of that to the world. We're not doing that because we are so busy doing. So first of all, let's talk about conditioning, what that is, and how to navigate around it in order to live differently. Conditioning is the way you've been taught to believe. It's the bias, the prejudice in favor or against one thing according to your experience and your perception or the lens that you wear, the glasses that you see through. They've been taunted, they've been tampered with by the environment you were born into. We were taught to be the way that we are. We all have. This is our normal, our comfortable, the familiar patterns, beliefs, and behaviors. That's the bias. It's just imagine you're born with this clear space in your head, and then someone just injects it with all of their beliefs, all of their experiences, all of their stories, their teachings. And then you become a product of those beliefs, of those downloads, of what you have seen and heard and witnessed, and even been shaped and molded to believe, right? You were spanked, or you were punished, or you were ridiculed into this manipulative way of being. Like, this is how we need you to be so that we can feel safe and calm and know that we did our job, or whatever it is that your parents were thinking, right? They do the best that they can, as we are today. We do the best that we can, but none of us can claim to have arrived. It's just the best that we have to offer today, and that's okay. Can we stay open to continue growing? That's the question. So we have been conditioned by religion, by our healthcare system. Like, it is very suggestible on our body aging and our sickness and illness. And like, we have been taught to believe the worst about our bodies, that we can't depend on them, that they are faulty, they are bad, they are broken, right? Just because, just the bad luck, it's the straw that you pulled, poor you, that kind of bullshit. Okay. So we've been conditioned by religion, by healthcare, by the culture that we live in. You can go from one culture to a next and it will be completely different. That's the proof. That's the evidence, right? And then we've been conditioned by authority figures and role models. Like, who did we look up to? Who were we impressed by? Who did we want to be like? These are all influences, and this is all part of the conditioning. What we saw, like in those role models or then those authority figures, the way that we saw other people treat them or want to be with them or around them, like all of that stuff has an impact on how we perceive. Oh, let's do this and then we'll be popular. Then the boys will like us. Then we'll make the cheerleading squad. Then we'll make homecoming court if we do this because we see other people do it, right? That's the conditioning. We're looking, we're watching, we're experiencing, and then we're following the patterns and the behavior so that we can get the same results as someone else. That is conditioning. So beyond the conditioning is the being. Think about this, the human being. It's not the human doing, it's the human being. It's this soul essence, this sacredness of self, the individuality. The inner compass, some call the Holy Spirit within us, this all-knowing God source, Christ consciousness. It's this being of consciousness itself within us. And I feel like what we are missing here is that consciousness is within all of us, and it's a part of this evolving into humanity. And we are separating it with judgment and labels and comparison. And like, there's this, I say mean girls, but it's kind of like, it's just a society of meanness, right? Where if you don't believe like me, I will shun you. If you don't agree with me, I will punish you. I will delete you. I will erase you, which is the harshest form of punishment, is to erase someone, to reject them so deeply that they disappear. Right? Block you. I'm going to block you. I'm going to get rid of you. You, the problem. So interesting. If we were all being in our uniqueness, in our soul essence, in our sacredness of the human being, if we were tapped into that and if we were living that, do you think there would be so much separation and so much judgment and so much meanness? It's so mean. The problem is, we think that we are the conditioning. We think we are how we have been conditioned to be. We are what we've been told about ourselves and how we are to behave. We believe that is us. And I want you to really take some time and consider the possibility that you could be living someone else's life. What? But because we're so worried about being left out or rejected or ridiculed, we don't want to rock the boat, right? So we keep living the lie, the not true self. We keep living the other person's life. It could be society in general who's expecting you to act a certain way. It could be your parents. It could be your partner. It could be your children expecting you to be who they think you are. We just keep living the lie and not the true self. And that works fine for a lot of people. Matter of fact, it works fine for the majority of people. But there's always a but, right? It's fine, and it's what most people do until, and that's a capital UNTIL, until you have been awakened by a sign, a knock, maybe even a bang. Could be a crisis, something that knocks you to your knees. Whether it's in the form of illness or disease or dissatisfaction, maybe even boredom. Yeah, that'll do it. When life feels dull and dreadful and boring and you start questioning, what the heck is this all about anyway? Have you had that happen yet? Have you awoken to this what the hell kind of morning, or gone to bed with, oh my God, I have no idea who I am. I have no idea what I like or what I want. All I know is what other people have told me. And I freaking hate that. I don't know why I kept doing it. It was like an expectation that that's who I was supposed to be. And I just never rocked the boat. But now that I'm living in this dissatisfaction and in this stifled state, now that I feel like I am dying within myself, this is something that COVID has definitely gifted us with, right? Is being under these restrictions and being separated from the norm and kind of deconditioning. It's a great way to look at it, is COVID has deconditioned us, because you know what? We can't play by the system because it doesn't exist anymore. What you used to be able to do, or what was expected, or what was so important, is not even available anymore. Now what? Now is the opportunity to awaken. To move from the state of doing, because that state of doing is the conditioning. It's the pressure. It's the urgency and the push to get things done, to arrive, to be something or someone, right? Get that good job, get that good college degree, marry that doctor or lawyer, right? Get yourself in that position so that people will see that you are something, that you will become something, right? So that you will be someone. Guys, can you see the irony in this? All that to be something, all of that pressure, all of that push, all of that competition and getting it done and winning the prize, all of that just to be something. You already are. You just have to see that the call is to be it, not do it. In other words, you already are it. All of that doing to attain this state of being when you already are. Kind of sit in that and let it spin around your head for a moment. This is what Self-Healing Masters is all about. We do a full evaluation of who you are, or who you think you are, or who you think you should be. And we start chipping away at what is not, so that you can get to work on being what is. This is not a place to come and do the system. It's not a place to come and be like someone else. It's a place to come and be you. I think the beauty is being here is the perfect place to practice getting to know the higher version of yourself, because you are treated as the higher version of yourself, which is something that you can't get out there in society and in your typical environment, because those rats, they don't let you off the hook. They keep judging you for who you were or who they thought you should be, right? That's what our family and friends do. We love you, but come on. You could be loving the ideal of who you think I am. And that's not working for me anymore, right? That's what happens to a lot of us. So the beauty of being in a space where you are treated as the higher version as yourself, you're seen as who you truly are, and you're treated as that being. We use your human design and your Gene Keys profile and some astrology and cosmology to start transmuting the shadows into the gifts. That is the magic of who we are. When we can take that lower vibration, the doubts, the limiting beliefs, the conditioning patterns, the unworthiness, the stories that you were told in childhood, the comparison, the judgment, what society has fed you in general, whether it comes through religion or through the medical system or through whatever authority figure taught it to you. We stop living the outdated stories and the lower version of ourselves, and we become the higher version, the future version, and we start practicing it now to become more of. Does that make sense? Because that gift, that knock, that bang, that crises or whatever it is, that has come to awaken you to be more of yourself. And the reason I am so passionate about it is I want all of you to be yourself so that you can contribute as yourself, as a unique entity, not as your coach or mentor or mom or dad or teacher or anyone else, but you. You as who you are. You have something to offer us. That's why you were created that way. So this is what I got for you today. I want you to first notice. Like list what isn't feeling alive and vibrant, what isn't bringing you joy. I want you to write all of that down. What is dull and boring and dissatisfying and excruciating? Just notice, make a list. These are the things that I do out of habit that bring me no pleasure and no joy. And then I want you to start unpacking exactly what the story is. I can't be who I truly am. I can't change. I can't decide to leave this relationship or this job or this career because, and I want you to write it down. I can't change because it will disappoint my parents. It'll disappoint my children or my partner, or like, I can't change because. I want you to unpack that story, and then I want you to get the answers. I want you to ask again, and that matters because, and answer all of that again. And then what will happen if I change? And write all of that down. So that's how you want to unpack it. You want to unpack the story. You want to unravel it. You want to unveil what's not you, the BS, the belief systems, patterns, habits that you've done just because it's familiar. You want to unpack it. And then you want to start interrupting the old pathway with this new identity, with this new version. You want to start interrupting as soon as you catch it. As soon as you say the thing that you've always just made these little sarcastic comments that don't even mean anything to you anymore. I want you just to notice. As soon as you go to binge eat, or as soon as you go to like call the person that you don't even want to be spending time with, like when you go to do the things that you dread or that you're disappointed about, I want you to stop in your tracks and I want you to say, I interrupt this pattern. This does not align with the new identity of who I truly am. Interrupt, interrupt. This is not who I am. And keep catching yourself. So that's the first 3 steps. The first was just to notice. Just start becoming aware and make a list of what doesn't feel alive and vibrant and what doesn't bring you joy. That's step number 1. Step number 2, you're going to unpack exactly what the story is. I can't because. And if I do, it would mean this. Like just write that out. And the third step is when you notice the old pathways, the old patterns, the old behaviors, you stop and say, this is no longer me. This does not work. This is a habit. This is just old behavior. You just stop it in its tracks. And then you be, capital B-E, in the new vision. I want you to feel it in your body and start taking the steps to materialize it in your life with ease and flow. Be the version of you in the deepest core aspect of who you truly are. You might have to go back to when you were a child and invite the things that you used to love back into your life. And it could start with something really small. It could start with just your food choices or just the people you hang out with or the activities. Like, why do I drink every single night? Why am I over drinking and overeating? Why am I indulging in this? Is it because I'm bored? Is it because life is dull? Is it because I'm unsatisfied? Like, start questioning those things. And you want to be in the new vision, the new version of your higher self, of your potentiality. Take a breath there. That's step 4. And then step 5 is you are going to choose and commit this new vision fully. And you're going to cultivate it as if it were already happening. In other words, you're going to keep interrupting when you notice the old patterns, and you're going to keep coming back to this new version. This is who I am now. This is who I am now. This is who I am now. And you're going to continue doing that because the mind learns through repetition. All right? That's what I have for you this week. Come over to the More Than Mindset group, join the community and the conversation. I do live videos in there, and we have inquiries for you to begin questioning, like your current understanding, because it all begins with inquiry. This coming into presence and being aware. And that's all you need to do to start today is just start to question, just start to notice and be aware and start to unpack that BS, guys. Start unpacking it. So you can look in the show notes for the links to come into the Facebook group. And if you're interested in Self-Healing Masters, which of course I think you should be, founders get lifetime access. So you do want to be one of the founders, which is amazing. And we are going, we just dive into this on the deepest level. And it is so much fun. All right. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.